set? Okay. This is the Woodbridge Board of Finance monthly meeting for September 19th, 2019. And before we start, we'd like to welcome our newest member, Ellen Scaltar. I think I've already welcomed you back, Susan, right? You were at the last meeting, so. Okay. Any public comments? I don't see anybody. Okay, and my favorite part of the meeting, election of chairman and vice chairman. Does anybody have a nomination for chairman?
I nominate Mac Giglietti to be chairman.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Any other nominations? Okay, motion, I'll make a motion that we close nominations. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those in favor of Matt Giglietti?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, and I'd like to make a motion to appoint Paul Kuriakose as vice chairman.
Second. I second. Oh.
Okay, any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any other nominations? Okay, I'll move that we close nominations for vice chairman.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those in favor of Paul Kuriakose for vice chairman? Okay, good, got that out of the way. Tony?
Yes.
It's all you.
So I have your year-end report through June, for June 2019, which is a surplus of $558,000, which gives the town an unassigned fund, unaudited fund balance of a little over $6.5 million, which is 13.2% of our expenditures. Some of the highlights for the year: our interest income generated a surplus of $185,000 due to higher rates than we had budgeted for. Our state grants had a surplus of $240,000, primarily due to a $75,000 increase, unanticipated increase in the municipal stabilization fund, $66,000 in ECS, and $90,000 in special education excess cost funds. Keep in mind, we spent money on special education on the expenditure half of the budget in order to generate that $90,000, far in excess of $90,000. So that's just the revenue that in excess of what we budgeted. We had budgeted $40,000, and we received $130,000 in special ed excess cost grants. Because we budgeted for an average year when we budgeted for the grant, and we had not an average year.
Now, will we be talking about that sometime early, I guess, before the next budget season, about the that particular, the excess cost funds, and whether we give that to, is that a conversation we had?
Talk about Beecher?
Yeah.
We don't give it to them, do we?
We haven't.
We keep
We
it.
keep it.
Offset what we gave them. We gave them
Right.
200 and
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
What happens with Amity?
Amity is totally separate.
They keep theirs?
Yeah.
separate, Okay.
So we had a deficit in charge for services, which is $115,000. That was mostly due to the pool, which was closed. That's maybe 80 of it. We also had some slight deficits in some of the others listed there, rec fees and town clerk fees. And finally, our Amity surplus had $125,000 or $130,000 remaining in funds from the original amount of $981. So we received $981,000 in Amity surplus funds, and we appropriated as follows: $220,000 went to reduce this 2020 budget. $239,000 was to fund the Board of Ed deficit, and $389,000 was for capital expenditures. So that's the balance. Expenditures. We did well in legal fees this year. Had a surplus of about $25,000 in the selectmen's budget. $33,000 surplus in finance department due to a elimination of a payroll position. Contingency had $37,000 remaining in it, which gives a Board of Finance a surplus of about $40,000. Police, $37,000 surplus due to a vacant position they had in patrol. They had some surplus in wages, which offset a deficit in overtime it's sort of a trade-off. But at the end of the day, they had about $37,000 left in their budget. Fire department returned $35,000. They had some surplus and some returned funds and some gear replacement and medical expenses, some other accounts, which they returned. Human services is a surplus of $38,000, primarily due to savings in part-time wages. Similar as recreation. Recreation is $55,000. A lot of that's due to the pool that was closed in the last fall due to issues with the Dectron unit. And so that's where a good portion of that comes from. The outdoor pool, as we indicated, was closed. That left $44,000 in expenditures that were surplus in expenditures. The library, $60,000 surplus. They eliminated a bookkeeper, a part-time bookkeeper position, and a position in reference. Was it reference, Karen? Yeah. And so they were able to do that this year. And finally, the Woodbridge Board of Education returned $32,000 to the town for the fiscal year end. So we used $289, but they returned 32. So about 250,000.
Okay.
Was there?
Tony, what's the status of the scale at the transfer station?
Scale's operational, and
We started charging it, or?
we've charged the haulers that pick up solid waste, garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
from residents.
MSW is
So
the term.
it's going well, they're
So far,
weighing them?
yeah, they weigh in, then they weigh them on the way out. They pay by tickets.
Yeah.
They prepay for tickets. So they're weight tickets. No, they prepay for these tickets that we have. And then they give a ticket when they come in. So there's no cash transferred at the,
No major repercussions? Nobody's
Not that
yelling?
I'm aware of.
Very good.
So I'm
I
sure
mean,
some
again-
people have the garbage.
And again,
have it
just
picked
to
up.
repeat.
I don't know if anyone's
we're
seen
doing
an
something.
increase.
We're doing something that everybody else does. We've just taken time before we did it, but.
Right, that's
And
correct.
there's only a couple of haulers, right? Two or three?
There's two.
Two, right. So, okay,
Yeah.
good,
I haven't heard anything yet.
okay.
The selectmen will be evaluating in the future as to whether to charge others for hauling and dumping.
I noticed the last few times, we went up there, they're asking for the permit. They're asking for them.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Good.
I go up there many times and I see guys dumping stuff and I'm looking, I was thinking permit. I put mine in the windshield. I don't stick it on my car because I use 3 different cars to
So you
bring
can move
trash.
it from
Yeah.
car to car, yeah.
And I've seen guys there, I don't see any sticker, nobody asks them, but I guess now, the guy said, no, we're gonna start asking.
That's good.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Better go get
status of FY19 audit.
The audit actually starts, the final review is Monday. They come out.
Okay.
They'll be here for probably 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. They go through all of our records, bank statements, payables, receivables, fixed assets, debt, insurance, IT. They go through all of our stuff. And should have a draft report, I'm hoping by early November.
Proposed budget meeting dates. I think they're pretty standard. So the joint meetings for the budget are, well, first of all, we have the capital budgets, Tuesday the 10th and Thursday the 12th if needed, Karen? Okay. And then our regular budget meetings are January 21st, 23rd, and 28th, and the 30th if needed. Okay, so that.
You can vote on next meeting if
Yeah,
you want to take
yeah,
a look at them.
we'll look them over and see if anybody's any
conflicts.
conflicts, and we can change things
Yep.
around.
That's fine.
March 4th, of course, is very important when we decide on what we're gonna recommend to the preliminary budget. Okay, look these over, and in our next meeting, we'll vote on them. Board of Ed, what are we looking at? This is the current month of August, so. How are they looking? Little surplus, a little deficit, I guess, $8,100.
Yep.
Okay.
They're pretty much
I
even.
think, I was watching the Board of Selectmen meeting, and the enrollment is stable. they were expecting it to go up quite a few, and it didn't.
Did not, right?
Right, good. That's good news.
September enrollment is with the financial year.
Yeah, I saw that, yep. So there's a total of 838, which I believe is the exact number they ended the year with, 838. I think I heard Bob Gilbert say that. Okay. Any questions on any of these items? Anything else, Tony?
Nope, that's it.
Next is funding requests. The first one, 1920-02, is a line item transfer for fiber optic cabling. As Tony's gonna tell us all about this. We heard it a little bit, but to connect the police department to the fire department. So I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1920-02 in the amount of $14,204. Why don't you just,
Sure. So,
this is, what's his name doing this, right? Kid from Amity.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's our
DeRosa.
oversees it for us,
Right,
Sean
Sean,
DeRosa, right.
Sean.
So, we have a company that's helping us to upgrade our servers and our switches and our cabling. And we had a big presentation back in, maybe it was June, I think?
Yeah.
And this is to locate the town halls. Basically, what we're doing is consolidating the town hall servers with the fire servers, and we're placing them at the fire station, so that we all share the same servers. Make some progress. And so instead of replacing their servers at $40,000, that's the second transfer. It's $18,000 to allow them to join our server environment. We also have a $14,000 upgrade for cabling and switching, and that'll connect us to the with fiber optics. We're already connected from here to the police station. This connects police and fire. So the ultimate goal is to eventually have the police station also needs new servers, and so we're going to share each environment. And, so this is the fire portion. Okay. And we're also hoping to the wiring, most of the wiring that we've done already will help create change the network around here, so we can look into other technologies like voice over IP and other. Our network was a flat network before, and so that didn't lend itself to voice over IP, but we're hoping to look into that also.
Okay, any questions? All those in favor? Aye. And the next one is related to this also.
Correct.
This is line item transfer 1920-03 for $18,000, it's line item transfer $18,280 to add additional server space and licensing to consolidate fire department and town services. And this, if I'm not mistaken, there was $39,000 allocated in the fire department
That's
budget for
correct.
this, and we're
Yep.
only spending, so this is a savings of about $20,000. So I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1920-03 in the amount of $18,280. Second, Tom, anything further? Same
No.
basic concept.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions on this? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
And Sean oversees the whole
Yep.
project for us. Yeah.
So this is a savings.
Yeah. Sean DeRosa at Amity. Yes, good clarification there. Yeah.
What was the clarification?
Sean DeRosa at Amity, as opposed to Sean, the fire chief.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, we're working hard, maybe Paul's gonna talk about the task force, but we're working hard to consolidate a lot of these, computerized. Sandy is, I see, I'm pointing like she's still a part of it. Sandy, who used to sit there, is really on this, so she's really good at this, so. All right, approval of minutes. We have before us the minutes of Thursday, July 18th. I will move acceptance of the minutes of Thursday, July 18th as presented.
Second.
Any corrections, adjustments, anything at all? No? All those in favor? Aye?
I'll abstain.
Opposed? Okay. All right. And, do you have anything to talk about? No.
I don't know if you wanna go over what we went over in the meeting, but
What meeting?
the only thing that came, the Board of Selectmen meeting.
Oh, That's up to you. Yeah,
So,
it's first selectman.
Congratulations both to the Finance Board and Tony again on the achievement that was, Beth did take time to mention that. And she continues to meet. There was a lot of discussion going on with the Amity Historical Society, Amity Woodbridge Historical Society that continues, and Beth continues to meet with them. They did bring up that the Amity Board of Ed will be meeting with the Board of Selectmen in October to review their plan or their proposal for the field additions that are being looked at, with the plan for a referendum in the early December timeframe. This is a request for bond to pay for the turf field and some other upgrades as far as their their athletics are concerned.
Okay, so are they looking to do artificial turf?
They are,
They're back with
Again?
that?
yes,
I'll talk about that.
okay.
It's the third time.
Beth is continuing her work with Rosa DeLauro and the engineers on the flood area to see what can be, if they're trying to secure us grants, to see what we can do with the flooding down in lower part of the town. And the largest portion of the meeting was spent on introducing Brian St. Pierre's new partner for the Woodbridge, the Country Club of Woodbridge
It's got a
Development.
name though, the development, right?
Werner.
No, I mean, the
Oh.
project has a name.
Oh, that's right, they did mention it.
Wood Valley Estates.
Wood Valley Estates is what they're
Okay.
calling
Wood
it.
Valley Estates.
Wood
Valley
Valley Estates is
Estates.
what they're gonna call it.
Correct. So they presented, he presented they basically outlined who they were, what their experiences were, what their experiences are, et cetera. And they do intend to present to the different boards and commissions over the course of the next 2 months. They are hiring a marketing organization as well to help them with that. So that's, and the selectmen will have a special meeting we have a special meeting scheduled right now for the 24th, where we're gonna have further discussion on this, and we may need to take a vote since since the partnership has changed.
24th next week?
Correct. Correct.
They have a somewhat target date for a referendum, don't they?
December 4th was what we were
December
told. Mhm. That's for the bond referendum on the, yes.
To sell the pro.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, for the country club, no, that's,
Oh,
no,
okay.
I'm not
They
sure.
don't have a
what
date
that-
set yet.
She's got a timeline, about 3-month timeline, but not a
Okay.
specific date.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, designation, Board of Finance liaisons, so the ones currently spoken for are, I do Amity, of course. Woodbridge Board of Ed, I guess Tom and Tom both wanna
We're gonna both
work on it, and you're gonna coordinate it and
Yep.
whatever, okay.
Tom.
Police Commission and EMS is Paul, and Paul wants to continue on those, okay. Susan has been on the Fire Commission and Library,
I've been on both,
okay.
correct.
And they don't meet on this, do you know, Karen, they don't meet on the same night, do they? I think we checked.
I think we checked.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
Second and third, I think, second Monday and third Monday.
So, Ellen, that leaves Human Services and Recreation. Do you have any you'd like to do, or which one you'd like to do?
Well, I'll continue human services as I've been doing it, and I've actually talked with them, so.
Would you wanna do
Hey.
Rec?
So, sure.
It's really all there is. Okay, all right, so Ellen and Tom will do Human Services. And then if there's a special one, I'm gonna put Ellen on it.
Last Monday.
If we come up with any special,
I was just gonna ask, last Monday or the Monday?
Last Monday.
And Matt, I've been sitting in on the Sustainability Committee, and I don't know if you want formal designation or anything like that.
yeah, that's fine, yeah, cause I'm also on this, well, Paul and I are on this ad hoc committee, which Paul's gonna talk about, we do that also, so.
Who chairs rec these days?
Chair
Who's the
is
chair?
Andrea Weinstein. Vice chair is Smith Mowry,
Uh-huh.
fairly new to it. And I'm the selectman liaison,
There you go.
so.
Okay, liaison reports. Tom was inquiring about this bondage, which I'm gonna talk about, but let me just go in. First of all, of interest to the, as I always start with, in the first month of the year, there's a surplus of $672,000 at Amity. Now, the reason for that is kids in special ed, not in special ed, and that's the biggest thing. Purchase services, $458,000. And then there's always movement of teachers and who cancels their medical plan and doesn't want, so it's preliminary, but the first month is always large, and it's large again, $672,000. That's where we're at. But again, we'll continue each month, and I'll keep giving you updates. As far as the just concluded year, June 30th, 2019, there was a surplus of $2,443,000, of which $409,000 was designated for security projects. They put sally ports in each of the buildings. There was like a guardhouse, whatever, and hired some people and did a bunch of security-related stuff, which was approved by the board. And they're going to return, this is unaudited, but they're going to return to the towns $2,034,101. So Woodbridge's share, if that passes audit, is $621,000, Tony's smiling, and $11, which, you know, again, I know there's a lot of, oh my God, but you know what, we're aware of this month by month by month, and we've gotten to the point now where for the most part they return all of it, so. I personally think things are going well at Amity. Everything's under control and their budgets are reasonable, so we'll keep our eyes on it. Now, as far as what Tom was asking about, and you can ask questions when I'm through. At the last Board of Ed meeting, they voted on a referendum. They passed a referendum a couple years ago, and to do some major project. Then it went to a referendum and it passed. This is the second half of it, or the second part of it, and this is the big part of it. The first part is facility projects. It's separated into two parts. And it's replaced 8 air handlers installed in 1993 that feed several classroom areas, counseling department, cafeteria, and so forth and so on. And they were identified in the Van Zome report as needing replacement. That's $1,830,000. That's to replace 8 air handlers. $245,000 to design and install acoustical improvements in the gymnasiums and cafeteria to improve sound quality and dampen noise level at each middle school. $140,000 to refurbish chillers at Amity Regional High School. $600,000 to replace certain parking lots at Amity Regional High School. So the first part is $2,815,680. And again, the Amity Board of Education approved this. The next part is a list of athletic facilities projects. And this will be controversial. We know it's going to be controversial. They're prepared to present it, and I told them, I said, look, you know, the last time you did this, it was, people were coming out of the woodwork to talk about cancer and so forth. Anyway, $317,990 to install an ADA walkway, bleachers, and scoreboard on field number 3 at the high school. That's not the football field, that's another field. And then $2,810,859 to replace the track, lights, scoreboard, and install an all-weather field at the main football field. That's a total of $3,128,849. Contingency of $594,000. Cost of issuance $97,000. The total of the two projects is $6,636,000. And that will, again, it's going to be a referendum, so we're going to get to vote on it. But prior to that, they're going to do presentations. I believe Dr. Byers is going to come and make a presentation to the Board of Selectmen, and I don't know if we'll be invited to Board of Finance. Okay, and then I'm assuming they're going to have some kind of a public presentation. They should, because people are going to want to, well, let's see, maybe the key dates. Hold on a second, Amity Finance Board, Amity Board of Education take action, which they did. Presentation to each member Town Board of Selectmen, which they will do. On October 21st, the Amity Finance Committee discusses and takes action on resolution and public hearing date. 10/21, again, Amity Board of Education discusses the same thing. 11/4, November 4th, will be a public hearing, followed by a board meeting to take possible action. December 4th is the referendum. And then
December, you said 4th?
December 4th. And, now, I'm not gonna say if I'm for or against, but what they're gonna tell you is, we are one of the few, or Amity is one of the few schools that has a grass field. Every other
I think
town.
it's the only.
Yeah, it probably could be. All the other towns have these fields. I mean, Cheshire just did it. Shelton just did, I mean, and so what happens is, the kids have gotta play on this field, and they're not used to it on these so they make them practice, they take them somewhere to practice on artificial fields, because the kids need to get the feel of that, you know. So supposedly, you know, I said to them, I said, you know, guys, I don't know if you remember, we had people, you know, the cancer issue comes up, and the tires, and he said, well, this is totally, I guess it's totally different now. Yale just put it in, that's right, Yale just put it in.
Yale Bowl.
Yeah, Yale Bowl. The venerable Yale Bowl. Which is,
Yale
so-
Bowl.
Not
Yale
without,
soccer.
not without a huge controversy.
Oh, yeah, for
basically
sure,
From the public
for
health
sure.
department. but-
So supposedly, this is the state of the art, the newest stuff, it's absolutely, you know, okay.
It's made of brass.
Have the people there who sell it, and good luck, because, you know the type of populations in these three towns, they're very astute, and they're gonna come up with studies and everything else, so.
Right, well, I think last time they tried to push for this, they did a pretty poor job.
Oh,
of
well,
it.
they had the parents doing it. The
And,
board didn't
uh,
even get involved.
Yeah, so I think that's part of the reason why it was defeated.
Yep.
But, just speaking as a parent whose children played at Amity, the football field can only do football.
Yep.
And it gets beat up every year, and the soccer team tries to do their senior night, and they have to do it during the day because they can't play on the soccer field at night because it's too muddy, and it's just a mess from football season, obviously, because soccer field is wider than a football field, so the sidelines are all beat up by the team standing on the side. So once you open up the field and you're playing along that, so they really can't play there. So it's a day game when a lot of parents can't make it, and the field is horrific. So, you know, it's, like I said, I think we're the only school in the region, in the schools that we compete against, who don't have a turf field, and everyone's going to it. Yale lacrosse soccer went to it, the Yale Bowl went to it, Guilford High School, Madison, all the ERG schools have it. So,
Matt, will the part one and part two be on the ballot separately? Can you vote for
That's a
part
good
one
question.
or
I'm
part
not
two?
sure. I think I heard them say that. Because I know one of the board members said, you know, we need to do these facilities projects badly. And if you put it all on one, and it gets, so I think now, I'm pretty sure, Ellen, that they did say it will be a two-part question. The facilities and the athletic facility, so, yeah. It's gonna be a big controversy. So, but as Tom said, the last time, they didn't want it, and they said, oh, the parent, and a bunch of parents handled it and advertised, they put signs on lawns, and it got hammered. It really got hammered, so. They're gonna have the company that does it come down and explain the product and what's lack of it's not as dangerous as once thought, and so, we'll see. So keep that on your mind, it's gonna be interesting. I also, sit on the ad hoc budget committee, which, Beth formed. It's me, Paul, Mica, and Sandy, so, and Paul's gonna report on that for us, okay? So, Paul.
Okay, so, as Matt mentioned, Beth asked us to form a task force and just work with Tony and meet with all the department heads and really take a 10,000-foot view of the town budget and look for efficiencies, redundancies we can eliminate, look for ways that departments can provide services for one another rather than having redundant services within them, and really do more with less. And we've met with all of the, I think all of the larger expenditure departments, and we've come to some pretty interesting solutions, which we will present to the Board of Selectmen, I think sometime in October, right?
Yeah.
Right, Matt? And we meet every week, and we generate minutes and do the whole thing. So we look forward to presenting that to the Board of Selectmen
So will this be presented as, not as the Board of Finance, but as a task force?
as a task
Yeah,
force.
under task force. For consideration by the Board of Selectmen and then the Board of Finance.
I only say that because not having been a part of it, not being able to look at any of it, can't really get behind a recommendation as a board member if I haven't seen it,
Well,
so.
I'm sure it'll be, I think Sandy's gonna write it up, it'll be very
Well,
detailed.
this will be a recommendation from the task force. to
Right,
the Board
not the Board of
Selectmen.
Finance.
And to the Board of Finance, I think. So.
The task force will be presenting to the Board of Finance, or?
Well, I don't know if we're planning on presenting to the Board of Finance. We
Mm.
probably could, but, it's certainly for your consideration as a board.
Okay.
Right.
But there's some interesting things that were brought up that we should be looking at. Certain contracts that maybe aren't in the best interest of the town that we should renegotiate, and it's sitting with it's not like sitting there and cameras are on, it's much more a relaxed atmosphere, I think, with,
Yeah, and it's more of an idea
yeah,
exchange.
IT stuff, and Tony was helpful with that, everybody's gotta start getting into that, and I think we're getting there, and, so, I think it'll be a good result.
So to Tom's question, it sounds like the process is a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen,
Yes.
who can then decide whether or not to
Implement
put it
it
in
or
the
not.
budget,
Right.
which of course will.
And this
come
is
from
next year's budget,
Finance.
next year's
Right.
budget.
And maybe with a separate presentation, but certainly it has, I see what you're saying, Tom, it has to come
Yeah.
from the Board of Finance, from the Board of Selectmen, whatever they choose.
Right.
To the Board of Finance, okay?
Okay, anything else, Paul?
No? Well, you want to move on to police?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, Mica?
I'm sorry, just really quick, the meetings are Tuesday afternoon. Susan was able to attend one of the meetings, and by all means, you're very much welcome to attend if you want to just kind of it's easy to get up to speed because it's very collaborative and it's just like Matt said, it's just an open dialogue, and it's been great in terms of just getting the information on a more nuts and bolts level so that we can understand
Sure.
things better.
What time is that?
3 o'clock
3
on
o'clock,
Tuesdays.
meet early. Yeah, we meet early.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, right in the board, next to Beth's office. But it's just a totally different atmosphere with the
Right.
department heads, more relaxed, more, we're not slamming off, how come you're spending this, it's nothing to do with that, it's just trying to come up with ideas to save some money, and if there's a duplication of services, and if 3 different departments, give yoga lessons, well, why can't we just have one, and, it's quite a bit of, and we'll see, Sandy's working very hard, I'll say that. Okay, Tom, Paul, please.
Okay. We had the Board of Police Commission meeting on the 10th. Andy Esposito joined us for his first meeting. The chief reports that the Amity IT transition is going pretty well. I think he's pleased with the results. The radio system install also has gone very well. They're looking forward to taking the system digital. I guess it's analog today. They look forward to some real improvements when they go digital. Also, the union contract negotiation is underway. I understand they have a tentative agreement. And also, the police department received some new firearms. They had to replace their existing firearms because they were old and so on and so forth. Training has been scheduled for new firearms. And also, the police department is looking at some scheduling software, which will cost some $6,400 or so to schedule the time the police officers serve on duty. I understand from Sergeant Rizzuti that it'll free him up from, apparently this takes a good amount of time for him to do. Schedule people, work around their vacation time and and so on. So he feels it'll free a lot of his time up, and the software seems like a reasonable cost, so. And I think that's it for police. We had the EMS commission meeting on August 5th, and I think the AMR contract is up for renegotiation as well. I think it expires the end of this year.
The end of 2019.
End of 2019, yeah. They've also transferred medical pre-arrival instructions to AMR. So I guess if there's a medical issue and they call, somebody calls 911, and the dispatcher transfers the call to AMR. AMR provides instructions for the people on site to do whatever's necessary to handle the medical situation. And that seems to be working well. The transfer works very well. And also AMR provides a very good service there, it seems. And AMR overall seems to be, within their, within their service level agreement, the vast majority of the time. I think in April we had a few blips here and there, but overall, for the time that we've kept records, going back 10 years, they've done very, very well to provide their service. And I think that's it for AMR, or EMS.
Okay.
Oh, can I just ask on the police software and
Yeah.
scheduling, is that again another one of those things? I don't know whether we use scheduling software in other areas. To me, scheduling software
yeah,
may be
yeah.
Utilize somebody
fairly
else's, yeah.
similar,
That's worth looking into. Yeah.
just a curiosity.
Yeah, I'll ask the chief if he can, maybe I'll work with Tony and find out.
Tom?
Human Services met on September 9th, Monday, I believe. And they're looking for a youth services program coordinator. It's 19 hours, and apparently there have been 3 individuals who have applied, and 2 have been interviewed, so they haven't finalized that yet. The fuel assistance applications are now available online, so if anyone is needing to get fuel assistance for this winter, they can go online and they can apply for that. The center facility projects, I believe the ramp is complete, and they've got a few fixtures on the doors and installation of some fencing that's still being worked on. The lounge area is being painted, or been painting, or in different stages of being painted. The mural that was on the wall is being painted over. They took pictures and they memorialized it somehow, but that's gone. They're also finishing up on the rooms that are downstairs, so that's pretty much finished up. Let's see. I think the other big issue was the grant they were looking for the bus. I think as of the meeting date, they hadn't gotten notification on the 5310 grant, but they have received that money for the 10-passenger bus that they're looking to get, so that's good. And also on October 2nd, Wednesday, is the Living Treasure Award Ceremony. That's going to be, it's a award ceremony, dinner, auction. It's a pretty big event in town. It's at the center in the gymnasium. I went last year and it was great. It was very well attended. The dinner was a dinner, so, but it's good. You get to see a lot of people from town. This year, the recipients for the Living Treasure Awards are Charlie Whiting, Ellie Sheehy, Ginny Calistro, and Margaret Hamilton. It's 5:30. I think it pretty much starts. You can view the silent auction items, and dinner served at 6:45. At 6 o'clock, they have a program where they go and they introduce people. Themis Clarities and George Logan will be there to present commendations from the state to the award recipients. And tickets end on the 20th, so if you want to get tickets, you need to get them.
Tomorrow.
It's $40 a person,
Tomorrow, yeah.
and you can get a pair for $75, and then you can get a table of 8 for $280. So if you have any questions, you can contact Human Services. And like I said, it's a great event. I'll be going again this year. And if anyone else can make it, that'd be great as well. That's what I have.
And what about, Mary Ellen LaRocca, I'm sure everybody knows, is retiring. Do we know as of when? Tony, do you know?
It's in January.
Oh, so she's not staying till the end of the fiscal year?
No.
Okay.
I think they
That's a-
extended the date on the tickets. What was the
Did it?
date?
I think it was till the 25th.
25th.
Okay,
So sadly, we're losing a really fine person.
sure, yeah. Big shoes to fill. I did talk to Jeanette today, and they are still, the tickets are still available, but she's stressed to let her know as soon as possible.
That's it.
That's it.
Sir,
So
you've been busy.
A little busy. Board of Ed did not meet in August. Not sure whether they met on Monday or not. We didn't get
Yeah,
notification,
we
we're just not sure, because with the new board members, they may be changing the dates, so it was a little unclear. Did get an update on the contract negotiations. It is in arbitration. There's a number of points of contention that have now gone to the arbitrator. They were supposed to have met on Thursday and Friday of last week.
Yeah.
I haven't heard what the outcome was. I will reiterate publicly that I think that Bob Gilbert and the Board of Ed has done a very good job trying to, having heard our message of what budgets might look like next year, to really try to, be diligent about this contract. So I guess we just wait and see what the arbitrators decide.
And I understand we are the first contract that's up.
Is that true?
There's actually been a couple that have already gone through, not through, we may be the first through arbitration.
Yeah.
My understanding is that there are two that were settled before. I think Greenwich just settled for less than people thought it was going to be.
Well, that's good. Hopefully we'll see that.
Yeah, so.
Greenwich is a few bucks.
Yeah, so we'll see. But it's in the
Yeah.
arbitrator's hands at this point.
That's sad. Got to arbitration.
Yeah. And the other thing I was gonna just say, just because I think it's of interest, I do go to the Sustainability Committee. As you know, we were a bronze certified town, and there was supposed to be money available. Money is now available. It's up to $25,000 matching. So that committee is working with the green team over at Beecher to try to find a first project. Basically, you have to raise, however much money they raise for a project, Sustainability Connecticut will match up to $25,000. And so they're working to try to get some money through that. Each towns can submit anything that pertains to sustainability in what we presented, but you have to go through the whole cycle. So you present, raise the money. It's not clear whether you have to finish the project before you can apply for a next one, but they're trying to work on one that they think will be fairly quick, hopefully before the end of the year. And so maybe we'll see some money out of all the work we do for sustainability, which would be nice.
Susan?
I got nothing.
Nothing? Okay.
I just got appointed.
That's true. Anything else you want to talk about? Okay, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. See you on October 2nd, 3rd, 10th, 17th, no, yeah, 17th.